All right, so today, I kind of got a little bit of like a debate, kind of, or not really like a debate, but like a debatey kind of topic that I feel like is like almost timeless, right? And it's bar soap versus loofahs versus a rag or a cloth versus hands, right? Whenever you're taking a shower. Now I feel like I've used all of them before. Like I've used bar soap, I've used a loofah, I used a rag, I've used my hands. I've used all of them. Recently, I just switched to bar soap from a rag, and I'm gonna be kind of like, I guess, gauging them as in like feeling and I guess cleanliness, right? Because I think these all I think these all do their job well, right? I like they all do their job and they all clean your body. They all clean their they clean you, right? They clean you, you use soap, put on whatever, they clean you, clean your body, whatever. Maybe some do it better than others, but at the end of the day, you know, they all you know, they all get you clean. Um I mentioned that I switched back to bar soap. The main reason why was just because I don't I kind of just thought maybe I should, cuz I haven't used bar soap in like a couple years, and I've been like after a couple years ago when I switched from bar soap, I switched to a loofah, and then from a loofah I went to a rag, and then uh to bar soap, right? Um yeah, I just switched to bar soap cuz I just kind of just wanted like a change. And again, at the end of the day, I feel like these all do their job, and some may be better than others, but at the end of the day, they all getting you clean. Um, I kind of think that I think out of all of them, I genuinely think loofah is probably the worst in both departments, right? Like they do get you clean, and a feeling is really like subjective, right? Like you might like the feeling of bar soap rather than your hands, or a loofah versus like a cloth or rag. But loofah I feel like is the worst. Worse in feeling, worse than a rag, honestly, because loofah legitimately feels, to me at least, it kind of legitimately feels like you're kind of just rubbing some plastic, like just straight like rough plastic. Um, that is like lubed up by obviously your body wash or your liquid soap, right? And you're just rubbing it on your body, right? Again, it gets you clean. Again, these all get you clean, but I feel like, to me at least, I think loofahs are the worst in feeling. Like I didn't really like loofahs. Um, I'm I'm gonna say maybe the worst when it comes to all of these different options, to me at least, because not that like I never felt clean, but loofahs, like they poof out, right? They poof out a lot when you're when you're using them, right? They poof out a lot over time. And the only time where I feel like it's ever like feeling the best is when you literally like just buy it from the store. Like it's fresh from the store and you just bought it. That's the only time where I feel like loofahs feel good, right? But then like once they start poofing out, like after like they poof out after just like one, just like wash. They can poof out after one wash, and all of a sudden the feeling is just not the same anymore. I will say a loofah, when you fresh from the store, you just bought it, right? And you're using it that same night, it feels amazing. Right? In my opinion, that junk feels amazing, and I think that is probably the only time where you're ever gonna get maximum cleanliness out of a loofah, right? But again, it gets worse in its later stages because it just poofs out and it becomes all loose, and none of the actual, like, I guess, nets are really firm enough to, stay in place and actually like scrub your skin. They're kind of just like rubbing it, right? It's just like gliding along it. And you're just all you're rubbing your body with, all you're scrubbing your body with is just like whatever is in the middle, whatever is bunched up in the middle, right? That's it. So loofah I think is there. Um, the best overall I think probably is a cloth or a rag. Um, could be in feeling and I would say probably cleanliness. The feeling I think is like kind of different. I want to say for everybody because like it really depends on like what cloth or rag you're using. Like I when I switched recently from a rag, I was using like I want to like some kind of like exfoliation kind of rag. It was like some Japanese one. I don't remember. I bought it off Amazon, and it was like it was like I'm like imagine those like exfoliation like gloves, like that kind of like I don't want to say sandpaper because it's not sandpaper, but like that kind of like coarse like feeling, right? But like just in like a long rag, right? But it was just that, right? And that didn't feel that bad. It definitely made me feel clean, right? Because that I think the a rag I think is best if you want to exfoliate, right? Exfoliate your body into I'm gonna like say almost like strip your skin because I feel like maybe if you don't know how sensitive your skin is to something like this, or maybe you rub too hard, I feel like you can probably do more harm than good. Um, like again, it exfoliates the best, but it could definitely exfoliate even too much, right? Right. And then when you get good exfoliation, I think you get really clean and stuff like that. And then feeling again, it depends if you're using something like that exfoliation type of thing, or if you're kind of just using like almost like a like I want to say like face towel or something like that, right? You're just using like a spare face towel. They use like a small towel, and you're just keeping that in the shower, right? And then you just put your body soap on it, rub it together, kind of like emulsify it a little bit, and then rub it on your body. The only thing that's kind of bad about it, I feel like, and I feel like would get really redundant really quickly, is the fact that I mean you largely kind of have to um wash it. Right? You put it in the like dishwasher, or not a dishwasher. You put it in the washing machine, right? In order to wash it so it doesn't, so bacteria doesn't, form on it, right? And that's another problem with loofahs is bacteria, right? And that's not really something that you can kind of just throw in the washer, right? Because then it'll get, you know, like washer and dryer, because then it'll get ruined, right? You have to go out and buy another one, right? So I mean, with the rag, you can just like toss it in the washer and dryer, and then it's cleaned. But like then again, like you can't just leave it in your shower after you use it because it's you know it could probably like there could get like mold could probably grow on it. Uh, something the bacteria could be on there. Like so, you really have to like I would say like wash it almost after every time you use it, right? Or like every time, maybe once or twice or something like that. I don't know. To be completely honest, I don't know. Hands I feel like are like an all rounder, right? I mean, I think in terms of feeling, like it's like a neutral because it's your hands, right? I mean, like I don't think I've ever heard of someone who doesn't like the touch of their own hands on their own body, right? um, and number two, like I think it's okay for exfoliation, right? Because of like the texture of your palms and fingers and stuff like that, right? Because I don't like I don't think like your palms and fingers, right? And like the pads of your fingers, or like the length of your fingers feels the same as like, you know, the back of your hand or something like that, right? Maybe it could be a lot softer, maybe it could I don't know, be a lot callous. There's like calluses on it. Maybe it's more rough. I don't know. I think it's okay for exfoliation, right? And I think it's a totally valid thing to use. Honestly, if you're cleaning yourself in your shower, I think all of these are totally valid right away. As long as you're just cleaning your body, good, right? Like I don't really think that there's a I don't really out of all of these options, I don't think all of these are really inherently like bad. There are just some that there are just ones that are better than the others, right? But yeah, hands, really not much to say about them, right? They're like all rounder. I think they're okay for exfoliation. They're okay for soap. Oh, another thing for rags and cloths. In my experience, at least, I had to use like a lot of soap in order to get like some suds, right? In order for it to like sud up and like actually like rub on my body, so that like it's not just rubbing on like just wet skin, right? Because I feel like the soap kind of it doesn't really, I'm gonna say, like suds up that easily in a rag, to me at least. um or the one that I use. Maybe it's just like the one. Maybe it's just because of the rag I use or something like that. Probably, but again, like that's another reason why I didn't like it. I had to use like a little bit of like um a bit of a good amount of body wash, right, or liquid soap to get it to like set up, and so that it's not just like directly on my skin, and it's just like rubbing against my wet skin, and potentially harming it even worse. um so yeah, that's another thing for rags. Lastly, bar soap. Bar soap is what I'm using now. I'm not using like Dove or something like that. I'm actually using Cheeky. Right, I'm using Cheeky. They're I bought their like their starter box or something like that. Um, the scent smelled great. That's all. Like that's what I'm saying. The scent smelled great. Even right now, I'm using the unscented one, right? But just smelling the boxes, the boxes smell great. I'm using the unscented one because I mean I don't want to go through all the like scented ones, and then I'm just last, and then I like those scents, and then I'm just left with like an unscented, like just mid smelling, not even scented soap, or bar soap, right? I think it's really, I think I like it. I think it feels great on my skin. Again, there are bar soaps again are kind of like rags or cloths where it really like the brand of soap where you're getting it from, or what kind of soap you're getting really depends on like feeling, right? Because there are some soaps out there I think that have like things in them, like where it kind of feels like it's more meant for exfoliation, so it kind of there's like I don't know, I want to say like particles or like material or something in the soap, like when you're rubbing it on your, let's say your arm, you kind of feel it like scrape a little bit, or um like rub a little bit, instead of just like that like smooth, just smooth bar soap feeling. um but yeah, again, the feeling depends. I don't think it's probably not the best in exfoliation, but like then again, like you don't want to be exfoliating your skin every day, because I mean, if you do it every day, you're gonna like strip your skin and you're gonna do more harm than good. But I think soap is like bar soap is good in terms of value, because bar soap is relatively cheap, and bar soap can realistically last you a good amount of time if you know how to use it, right? If you know how to use bar soap, you're not like you have to like I think you have to use bar soap while you're like just not under the water, right? Because the water's what's gonna break it down even more, even faster, right? So you make sure that the bar soap is not directly under the spray of your shower. But yeah, I don't think it's the best in exfoliation, but I think it's the best in terms of value, um, or good in terms of value. I think it's also good for cleanliness. Again, like it's really dependent on you. You have to make sure you're getting spots. Again, I don't think it's bad. I think a lot of people like shit on bar soap because like they make the argument that like you're washing yourself with like a dirty like bar of soap, which is like kind of crazy to me because like you run it under water first and you're kind of you obviously you gotta like lubricate it a little bit so it's like slippery and then like it's I mean honestly you could probably say the same thing for like rags, right? Maybe I don't know if you don't wash them obviously, but like I don't know people just make I've heard people make the argument that like bar soap is probably like actually I think a general consensus is probably loofahs are the worst because of the bacteria buildup that they can have. And then bar soap, I think would be people would say would be second from that because it's a dirty bar of soap, I guess. But like, I think like does it not just like clean itself? Like does it not just clean itself? And then like obviously when you're rubbing it between your hands to get it all lubricated under the water for a brief second, you're kind of getting rid of that uh dirty layer dirty and clothes. But no, like I think again I think these are all good. um I'm not honestly I'm not gonna rag on anyone for using one over the other. Really, I think it's just personal preference. And truthfully, just as long as you're cleaning yourself, cleaning your body, getting all these spots and stuff, you know that's good. That's already a good thing. I don't really think it matters what you use. I think it really just comes down to, it matters that you're actually using it and you're actually doing it, right? So, I mean, that's it.